What is going on, guys? Welcome back here to Pitbull Audio. Thank you guys for joining us today. We have some very special guests, a really cool interview lined up for you guys today. We're going to be joined by Emil Werstler and Dustie Waring, along with Bobby Serrato from PRS. Before we kick things off and start the interview, they submitted some performances for you guys to check out. So we're going to go ahead and start off with Dustie Waring. Check this out. We'll be back with you guys in a couple seconds. That was absolutely sick. Thank you to Dusty for submitting that performance. Now let's check out Emil Werstler's performance. Thank you guys so much for submitting those performances. Were absolutely amazing. I am now going to be joined on the screen with by Dusty, Emil, and Bobby. What's going on, guys?
What's up, everybody?
How's it going?
It's going good. How are you guys?
Hanging out, man.
Yeah.
Awesome. How's the whole quarantine life been treating you guys? Have you guys gotten any better at guitar? Or you guys decided to put that down the whole time?
Emil probably has. We just been hanging out, man. Watching boxing.
Have you really?
Yeah, watching classic boxing since there's actually been a few boxing matches that have happened, maybe two nights worth of it. So we've been catching up on a lot of that, and working on music, writing music, trying not to lose our minds.
Nice. I feel like there was two camps in this whole kind of quarantine thing, where there was the camp that decided to really buckle down, practice, and kind of work on music and write music and further that. And there was the camp like me, where I just decided not to even go into my guitar room for the last 3 months and use quarantine as an excuse.
That's the struggle, I think.
Yeah.
Like when you get like, I mean, it's probably the same for every musician or even probably a businessman, where it's like, it's hard to be inspired when you don't know if somebody's going to hear your music until 2 years from now.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
So I'm about 8 songs in, to a new record, and I'm just kind of having to trick myself. Just get it done and sit on it, and then just see what happens if it all comes back.
Right. How active would you say you guys were on social media as far as like putting out, snippets on Instagram, things like that, if you guys playing?
Same old, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I just got this crazy thing that makes that a lot easier. So I've done a few little things, nothing like that I'm charging people for, just little fun clips where I play like, popular parts of songs, or we had a remix remaster record came out. So I played like a little clip from a song from that. Mainly just little stuff here and there, nothing crazy. I haven't done like a Twitch stream or anything like that.
Oh,
I don't know how to even do that.
yeah, me either. But I did notice that a lot of musicians, a lot of modern guitarists did start going into like, streaming on Twitch and using a lot more modern platforms of social media, as opposed to just putting out Instagram clips, as opposed to just putting out YouTube videos. They really started engaging a lot more. Like, Matt Heafy really got into it, and a lot of guys are really kind of moving more towards that direction.
My drummer's been doing a lot of Twitch streams. That's been pretty neat. He's got like an E kit and stuff. So
oh, nice.
Sounds really great. He'll take like requests, and
He did a blast beat when this.
yeah, he did a blast beat over. We let the dogs out. But it's been cool, man. It's been cool to see how creative people are. Obviously nobody really knows when everything's going to go back to normal as far as being able to tour and perform and whatnot. And like, all of our companies being able to go back to work, full time and whatnot. So I think everybody's just playing it by ear, man, and just trying to come up with new ways to be creative and kind of stay on the map, I guess.
Right. That was actually going to be my next question for you guys. How have you guys been since not touring and not really being able to jam in a rehearsal space with your bands and all that?
I mean, it's weird. I mean, I Dusty got a lot of stuff canceled. He had a lot of really lucrative, like a lot of stuff coming up that his board got wiped clean. I finished most of my stuff miraculously. So I got home. I was in Vegas at Circus when like it was on the news about being shut down. Like I miraculously didn't get sick as far as I know. We all played all the shows.
Right.
And I made it home, and that's right around the time where everybody was like, "Oh shit, this is pretty serious," and things started changing fast. But so it's like we're kind of prepared for it. I think when you've been in the game for this long, so to say, you're kind of used to, well, guys, Australia got canceled. Why? Well, this thing happened, and okay, like you're used to literally like waking up one morning and everything goes the exact opposite direction. So it doesn't make it any easier, but I think when any freelancer, any gig worker, you're kind of just built for it. Once you're in it past 10 years, you're just like,
yeah,
you're like, go figure. All right.
Right.
I think when it does come back, though, it's going to be stronger than ever, and it gave everyone, whether you wanted it or not, it gave everyone a nice little break from, maybe you skipped out on the last 3 times that a band you love came in town because you were just tired and you're just like, whatever, I've seen them a bunch. But now, from not being able to, like we're supposed to be on tour right now. I think I can't remember, but last show will be in a few days or something. But I think that everyone's going to be really hungry, and I think everyone is just like starving for live music again. So, like I said, I think it's going to be positive when it comes back, and people are just going to be so fired up to be able to go to a show that, I think it's going to be really good, man.
Absolutely, man. I agree. There's going to be a ton of good energy at those first shows when everybody actually comes back. I'm super stoked to see a live band. It's been definitely hungry for that right now. Just because I think this relates to everybody who, whether you're in a a popular band or not. Did you guys develop any kind of weird habits being stuck at home for 3 months straight, just sitting in the house all day trying to keep your sanity?
I've been, if anything, it's made me like more physically active. Been doing like a lot of running and working out and stuff.
Nice.
Whereas I was already doing that, but I think I'm doing more of it because I have to create things to do in my day. So I make
Exactly,
it take up more time,
Yeah,
And Andrew, you've still been doing lessons, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean,
nice.
he just hit it right on the head. It's like creating something, like to do, creating something to do during the day, kind of thing. Like, luckily, see, I'm real fortunate. I've always taught, although I don't really advertise. I have like what I really do for a living is the spinal cord, if you will, that connects everything that I do together is teaching. So, and I just noticed that right when this really started going down, I did get, it wasn't like a massive influx. I know if I would have advertised, it could have been, but I kind of wanted, when I decided I wanted to start writing, when this happened and everything got canceled, I was like, well, this could go 2 ways. I could dive into teaching and pile on 20 more hours a week,
Right.
Or I could try to keep my regulars that I really love to teach and take that extra time and go write music, which is that's what I chose. So I think that, like the teaching thing has been cool. I think one thing that I'll add too about just all of this is that I think it is going to change things to being one step closer to Demolition Man. I mean, in a positive way, a lot of times I think guys like us and guys that create and play on stage, they don't really have the time to post every hour.
Right.
And I think that the positive about this is that a change has happened, but people are allowing themselves to watch. Like, people are doing this with us today. Like, I feel like before this would have been just blown off, whatever,
Right.
But now, like, people are allowing themselves to watch their artists do a cover song or something, or they're allowing themselves to get involved in, because teaching online, like, I mean, here's a great example. I switched all my format recently to Zoom. I've been teaching on Skype for like 12 years.
Right.
And then when Zoom came about, especially now, the functionality is fantastic. Everything on it's great. And
it's funny how nobody knew what Zoom was until this
nobody knew
happened.
what it was, and like me included. I knew what it was, but then I wish I would have invested stock in it or something. But
Exactly.
there's positive stuff. I mean, I'm just glad that in a way, entertainment took the biggest hit, right? I mean, we got some friends that got hit really hard. I mean, and I think it's cool that the flip side is the entertainers kind of have the power. We can get online and be more proactive and do stuff like that. And like Dusty said, be creative and find a new way to do it. And I've seen some cool stuff where there's some stuff where I'm rolling my eyes. I'm like, okay, all right, you, I get it.
Right.
But then there are musicians that are doing some really like interesting original stuff, and it's cool,
Right. By the way, just really quickly, I want to give everybody a shout out in the comments. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you guys for commenting. We can see you guys. We just want to let you know you guys are here with us. Thank you guys for joining us and watching the live stream.
Yeah, we can definitely see your comments.
Cool. So a quick question for Emil, just because when you have guitarists of your guys' calibers, when you're holding a guitar, everybody wants to know what it is. So what are you holding right now, Emil? What guitar is that?
Dusty's J15.
I love this thing.
There's like 2 of these. It's a Paul Jackson Jr., but it's got a really...
It's a thinner body.
Yeah, it's a thinner body. It's a bigger hollow body, like with circumference-wise, I guess you could say.
So it's got the block in it, so you can have the trim, right?
Yeah, it's a hollow body with a trim, essentially, but this is a Pernambuco fretboard.
Oh, nice.
Spruce top, yeah. And then the rest is pretty normal, I guess you could say, aside from the pickups. These are low turns. So
is that like a weekend warrior for you? Or is that something you've just been getting into lately? Is that new? Or
I mean, how many you record a lot of stuff with this?
Yeah, that's like my main studio. All the session stuff I do here in Nashville, where we are.
Okay.
I use that guitar, and I have this really customized DC3 from PRS that I use both of those constantly because it's mainly like radio country and stuff like that. So it's an unbelievable guitar. It actually gets extremely heavy sounding too. So whenever we get back in the studio, I'm sure it'll be used a ton.
By the way, on the topic of that, just so everybody knows, at the end of this live stream, we are going to be announcing the winner of the Dustie Waring signature guitar giveaway. Just so you guys.
His name is Emil Werstler. Emil Is the winner, just so you guys know.
Yeah, I tried the same thing. I tried typing my name into that, but it didn't stick. So, fortunately, I'm gonna have to forego with some dough to get it. But cool. So, this is a really interesting question. I think a lot of musicians like you guys are getting over the past 3 months. Obviously, you guys have had a lot of time to sit down and listen to music and kind of reflect on albums and things that you like. Is there any new up and coming like metal bands or things that you guys happen to be into that you got into over the last 3 months?
Let me look in my iTunes real quick. I will say there is a new Tigran Hamasyan single out. He's got a new record coming out.
That guy's crazy.
Let's see if we can get this in here. Can you see that, everyone? Tigran Hamasyan. I think I'm saying that right. He's pretty incredible, man.
Nice.
I've been on this crazy 90s kick, man. I've been listening to, obviously Alice in Chains is like top 2 bands for me, but I've been listening to STP and so much 90s stuff this entire time to where, God, I mean, how many days do you come over and I'm like playing STP riffs?
It's infectious. Everybody, we have like a Nashville circle. It's weird. Not really country players, but like just other band guys. Like Ryan Knight's here in town. Producer Mark Lewis is in town. There's a lot of PRS artists in town here. Right. And it's funny because as soon as he started fooling around with like getting obsessed with the STP rig and the tone, next thing you know, we're all adding like chorus to our rhythm tone.
that signature STP tone.
You always end up going back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's your go-to STP riff?
Oh man.
The probably Plush.
Okay.
The intro into like the verse and everything.
I mean, Clint Lowry just came out with a new EP like quick.
Yeah.
Like he just came out with one, and that was really Clint is like. It's interesting. I always have been a fan of everything he does, but also I really like Clint and his work ethic because he's like a real writer. Like he's always, it's not like, I'm gonna write. Sometimes I feel like with myself, I'm like, I guess it's time to write a record.
Right? Yeah, I know.
Like he's writing songs every day for other people. He's writing stuff for his band, his solo, and that's pretty cool. There's been some, and it seems like I think he might have mentioned this, but it seems like from the sound of it. Right. That it was done, without a band production, and that's something on my record that I'm thinking about delving into a little more, just because of how things are right now. Why do I really want to spend X amount of thousands of dollars on drum rooms and drummers and
right,
or do I want to collaborate with like a guy that's amazing at programming beats because he can do it from LA while I'm in Nashville? You know what I mean? Like
technology's gotten to a really, really good place for musicians. I mean, what a time to be a guitar player. What a time to have projects with people that you can do from across the world. It's a great time to do that. So yeah, definitely.
I want to answer, I'm reading some of these comments. There's a lot of people asking about the tour we were supposed to be on right now. Okay. It is not canceled. We're just having to kind of sit back and wait for people to be like, all right, go ahead. So we don't know exactly when it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. It's not canceled. We're all staying sharp, for whenever we get the go ahead. We've never dealt with anything like this before, a global pandemic. So we're just, we're at the mercy of it. So
exactly.
The same with Emil and his gigs, man. So
yeah, mine actually just I lost. There was a McAlpine European tour it was September. At the beginning, a lot of people would take what they were doing and move it all to September, October,
right?
And, as just sort of precautionary, and which is understandable. So and then I have a theater thing that I do every summer, which is like 8 weeks long, right before it. So really, this 4 days ago, I just got the word that it all moved to September.
Right.
It got cleared to be done outside, and now it's completely canceled. Because I think that the issue, besides the pandemic itself, is are people going to show up? Are promoters going to lose their butts?
Exactly. Yeah.
So
I think
back and just watch and wait.
I think one of the most repeated things that people are tired of hearing, but one of the truest statements is that this is definitely uncertain times. We just don't know. I mean, even the people that you assume could tell you when they can come back and play shows, they also just don't know. So, kind of leading into a question we really want to ask you guys: what was the point in your guys' careers when you guys actually stopped and looked down and said, "Man, like I'm here, like I'm where I want to be"? Not to say the cliche "I made it," but what moment was it where you ended up in that spot where you were just really happy with what you achieved?
Well, I mean, I think the biggest part of being an artist is you're never satisfied with your ability or where you're at. You're always wanting to climb, never repeat yourself, and just continue to get better and more successful. But I mean, the fact that both of us, we've talked about it a million times, the fact that both of us, this is our job and how we make our living. And we get to play these insane guitars and play with lots of unbelievable musicians. And there's people that pay to come see you perform. And that in itself, even if you're playing for 50 people, or you're playing for 2,000 people or whatever,
Right.
It's pretty incredible, and it's very humbling. And I mean, I'm sure that anyone that has seen us live sees me. I look around a lot because I'm real ADD, but most of the time I'm just thinking, wow, all you guys come and watch all of us idiots up here playing, So I mean, I think I've felt that way the entire time, the entire ride. Just that's your job. You know what I mean?
Right.
Being a guitar player is your job. That's how you eat. That's what you do. That's what you've dedicated your life to. And to have that opportunity, no matter how hard it may be sometimes, I think we both would agree that it's a gift,
Absolutely.
Yeah, I can second that one. To sort of really point out, the first thing that popped in my head, he literally said it, what was on my mind, which is because of the human condition, in that once you get, like, let's say I give you like $2 million a month, right? Never in your wildest dreams would you have imagined that after the third month you'd be like, another 2 million.
Exactly.
So there is a sense of like, but you have to stay humble to be great.
Exactly.
You have to understand that it can all go away to make the right decisions. And especially we've both been in this for so long. We've seen the greats literally come and go just because of you name it, circumstance, decisions. So I think that because a human being gets used to what he or she achieves, kind of like the Last Dance. That's the last cool thing that I did watch, by the way, going back to what have you been doing in quarantine. I really, seeing the old Michael Jordan stuff was amazing, and noticed that he kind of had a moment where he arrived when he won that first championship. It was just a struggle to beat the wall down.
Right.
And there is a sense of that same. I think the reason why a lot of musicians, the reason why I love boxing so much is because you can really relate the way that these people feel with just sacrificing everything just to get a shot, not even to be guaranteed anything. And
Right.
I think that the beauty of the human condition is that you get used to it, and you kind of want more, and it's a positive thing, and you have to stay humble. And as soon as you figure out that you've made it, there's two types of people, in my opinion. There's one type which starts celebrating, and they just celebrate themselves off a cliff. Exactly. And then there's other types who get scared and buckle down and go, I got to do this again and again and again and again and again. You know what I mean? Like, I got to do this until I'm 60 years old. Are you willing to do that? That's the reality of it. And the reality of it is, to answer that question, the answer for me is, yeah. I mean, this is what I do. If I'm left to my own devices, I'll sit here and play guitar. It makes me happy pretty much. So
I think a good question for you guys, just from us bedroom guitarists, is something I personally am really interested in. Is and when you guys are writing a demo song, or you guys are starting to write and form a song, what's the order for you guys? Do you guys write a riff first? Do you like to buckle down and maybe write a drum pattern first? Like, how do you guys go about doing that?
I think it's different for everyone. I think everyone does it differently. My band, our music is so out there. Everyone writes on their own, and we kind of just send it all to each other, and we start kind of building like that. But me personally, I'm a riffer. I've always written riffs. I'll hum them into my phone, like an audio message, or I'll take a video of me playing a riff or whatever, and I'll just kind of build on it, record it to a click, and then put drums on it. That's how I normally do it. I don't know what your process is like.
I think I'm a rock guy at heart. Like, we're talking about STP, and I think that I'm kind of the same way for the most part. Like, I'm gonna, if I'm driving down the street and I hear an idea in my head, it's usually going to be like a sort of a bigger picture riff. It's going to be like a riff, hopefully. But a lot of the things that one can run into when you're writing is, well, I got the first part, I got the second part. How the hell do I come up with the third part, kind of thing? But so for me, I by default will have that kind of behavior. Like, I'm going to record a riff, but then to find the next part, I find that if I get stuck, I have 3 or 4 other things that I'll do to kind of shake the tree. In other words, to kind of rock the boat a little bit. So a lot of times, like, if I come up with an idea, right, it's usually going to be a drum beat and a riff. And then to counter that idea, there will be like a second riff that came from the same mother, maybe with a different drum beat and a different cymbal. But then usually the third riff is like, and I kind of have to turn to, well, let's just program some keyboards and see where that leads me. Or maybe it's time to collaborate.
Right.
Like what Dust is saying. Like, I'm sure that one guy in the band has one blob of music, the other guy has another blob, and then the bassist comes in and does a little bit of arranging. Next thing you know, you have a whole song with all these parts, and that's
different influences.
Yeah, collaboration can really help kind of shake that tree to make the song, move it to the next level.
Right. Yeah, I think so many times that our favorite guitar players and our favorite musicians, we see the end result. So we don't get to see the part where it's all fragmented and the bare bones of just the structure of the house before it actually gets built. We just see the end of it. And so a lot of us as bedroom guitarists, me especially, I sit around wondering, man, how did they get to that point? How did they start and what led them there? So I just figured a lot of people would be interested in that with you guys.
That's a good question. Good question.
I see a question over here. They're asking, what is it about PRS that hooked us?
Good question.
I think me personally was just growing up seeing them in Guitar World magazines, and I'd never seen figured tops like that. And I loved the shape. The headstock has always been such a big thing to me, and like a bad headstock can ruin the best guitar. and PRS to me has just always had this beautiful, elegant headstock that's the perfect size. It's kind of small. It's not massive. I just thought the guitars were beautiful, and like, you look at one from the side and the contour on it is just, you catch yourself just staring at it, wishing you had one. So
what was the first one you saw?
First one I ever in person?
Yeah.
First one I ever saw in person was I grew up, my buddy Matt that I grew up with, his dad Rob Bostic. He had like I want to say it was probably like a 92 custom 22 green, like the emerald green color, black back of the neck. Kind of like the Airheads guitar minus the dragon,
Mm-hmm.
And obviously I've told that story a million times, Airheads, but first time I saw one ever. But yeah, for some reason he let me play it when I was in high school, and I couldn't believe it.
For some reason.
Yeah, I mean, I was just some little death metal kid, so
hey, maybe he saw what was coming. Who knows?
I don't know, maybe. What about you?
Dude, listen, I'm actually like really trying to think.
It's probably at that music store in Alabama.
It was. I remember it as actually. It wasn't the cool music store. I got a job first at the other music store that sold pianos,
mm-hmm.
called Arts Music in Dothan, Alabama. I was like 15 years old, and I wanted to work because I wanted to, be around music gear. And they had one, and this place was a piano shop, so their guitar set, they just had a room of guitars that were kind of like not very good and were super overpriced. They didn't really care to sell them because their main gig was band instruments for middle school students and pianos, that kind of market. Mm-hmm. And I would be there, and in the guitar room, and there was this one all white. It was, in the early or the late 90s, it seems. This would have been right before Tremonti came in and really kind of took PRS to the next level with a single cut, with just that swag,
Exactly, yeah.
And so so what was common was this funny. It's the same thing Dusty said that he saw. This would have had to have been like a custom 22 or 24. It was all white. And I remember looking at it, and the price was like astronomical. I couldn't believe it. I was just like, oh my God. And it was just up there, and it was like everybody that worked there would just kind of gather around during the day and just look at it and talk about it. Never pulled it down. So then moving on, what did me in was about 2 more instances where I was older and I finally got a job at the cool guitar shop with all the great players. Right. And they had all these guitars hanging up behind, these PRSs hanging up behind the counter, and I worked there. And I had this like Ibanez with Wizards and Warriors paint finish. And my high school girlfriend was like, you need to get one of those. And she pointed back out. She's like, those are the nice ones. And I kind of looked back, and my exact words were like, that'll never happen. So I'm just going to deal with this. And
you know what? That was kind of my next question to you guys, just seeing as how you guys seem to be in the same place that the rest of us were when we kind of first stumbled upon PRS. It's just how prestigious that name is and how prestigious the guitars were and out of our reach. What did it feel like when you kind of looked at, back at yourself and said, I'm with this company now? I mean, how does that feel?
It's when you meet Paul's when it becomes real.
Yeah. Yeah. Hanging out with Paul and him like knowing your name is pretty, you're just like, Jesus, this is wild. But
I bet.
Yeah, I mean, I remember, when I got my first PRS, when I met Win Krozak, I just couldn't, for the longest time, I couldn't believe I had one. I was like, whoa. And then, just the years kept going, and we both kept finding, with any company, when you're like, yeah, everything they make is good, but you have to find what is you, like what's your style, and like what Emil likes and what he plays is different than what I like and what I play, Right. I wanted the Floyd, I needed the Floyd, and I don't know, we're both so fortunate to own instruments that were made for us the way we want them. And I mean, still to this day, we've both been with PRS for well over 10 years. Yeah. And, 12, 13 years probably. And I still get surprised, you walk into NAMM and your face is on the wall, or
you just like prepare yourself for it. Like, I'm just going to not look. I'm going to not look. I don't want to see new paint finishes. I want one.
They got so much nice stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
what sorry, I saw a good question that was asked on the side by Ron, actually, and he was wondering what your guys' pre-warm-up ritual is before you guys go on stage. That sounds pretty interesting.
I've always kind of done like that Petrucci speed warm-up thing, just to kind of get both hands warmed up. But Emil actually has an exercise that he showed me a few years ago, and I mean, pretty much makes you completely warm in like a minute, maybe.
Yeah, it's like that is this one. That one.
Yeah.
There's one. It's like, of course, you guys probably can't see, but that's it, because you're switching from outside to inside picking, and it's really musically there's no value to it, which is kind of goes against my beliefs. But it's so grueling, and if you play it at medium tempo, it's like lifting weights slower or stretching slower and longer. And I think a lot of people want to just twitch around when they warm up, and they don't realize, no, you're better off like doing something like playing chords, and because really you're pressing on your guitar for long amounts of time. The warmer you are, the more comfortable you are pressing on your instrument, like grabbing this instrument. So why would you avoid pressing it by twitching around and considering that a warm up. That would be like starting your stretching routine with sprinting, like running. You know, it's like
right, yeah.
So, but I do the same kind of thing Dust is talking about. I mean, I sort of like I try to get away from people. Like I found that about an hour before I play, I try to get away from people, and if too many people are in my air, if my energy's being interrupted about half an hour before, you'll usually I can go off in the corner, but I just kind of get more withdrawn. And what I'm doing is the same thing Dusty's doing. I'm trying to not only play something at medium tempo, but block everything out so I actually do get that time to take care of myself and go up on stage, because playing a show cold, I mean, especially the stuff that he plays, man, I mean, it's like you go up there tense, it's going to take 5 or 6 songs to feel good, and the show's halfway over, you know? So that's my, and a lot of times, like, when I have guitar friends come, a lot of times, like, talking about guitar and laughing and maybe catching a jam with them, or just being in that energy, that does it for me. Otherwise, I mean, you know, everybody showed up late to the venue before because of some weird traffic or wreck or something, and it's just not very pleasant when you're rushed, you know?
Right. I can imagine. I mean, I feel like just playing at home, and when I start playing cold, I can just easily discourage myself right then and there just to not even play. I'll go sit back down and be like, it's only been a day and I'm way worse than I thought I was. So I'm just going to leave.
2 hours, if you play really hard and meaningful for 2 hours, the way that you sound after that 2 hours is sometimes I'm like, oh damn, I still got it. Like there's times I'm losing it. That's just because I didn't warm up. And then when I warm up really hard and I'm like on fire, it's like, oh, I can do this no problem.
That's
the older you get too, man, you have to warm up.
Yeah.
Like when we were both kids playing metal and stuff, we never warmed up. We just went on stage.
Elastic fingers and hands. And
yeah, but now, like, I mean, if I don't play for a few days and I don't warm up and I just pick a guitar up, I'm not going to sound good for a few minutes.
Me too.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's like going on a run. When you first take off, you're like, God, this hurts. It's terrible.
Dude, I think we all feel that struggle. I'll be here at Pitbull Audio, and I'll just kind of go and sit down and just kill some time and play a guitar, and I'll have to warm up before I like put any real volume on it because I don't want to be what I do now. And then like an 18-year-old kid will come in and just shred me to pieces, right off the bat. And I'm like, how is it you can just pick up the guitar and just annihilate everybody? And I need like the next 3 days before I can turn the volume knob up. You know what I mean?
There's always this option. You could always look at the kid and be like, yeah, that's cool, but can you play the blues? There's always that option.
Can I get some feeling on the next note?
Yeah, can you play some vibrato there, pal? Use your pinky. You know, there's always adults saying when a kid's really good, oh, that's great, but can you use your fourth finger?
I just make the statement by putting my guitar just very calmly back where it was and walking away from the amplifier. Just let them play.
Glucosamine chondroitin. What is that? Apparently it helps your fingers.
Oh, glucosamine, yeah.
What is it, like a sugar tablet?
There's vitamins for glucosamine to where, like, because I used to, and I still do, when I wake up, it's time to pop my knuckles and pop my elbow, pop my neck, and I had a friend like, you need some glucosamine, dude.
I'm like anti that. I can't even hear people doing that in the room without just being like, oh, just super irky. All right, so you know what? So talking about shows, we were talking about that earlier. What is the show that if you're gonna pick a first show to go to once everything is as normal as I guess things could come back to, what is the show that each one of you guys is excited to go to?
A show that we're excited to attend and not.
You're not going to play. You're just going to go and watch your first show back and you know into everything kind of being lifted and coming back to normal. What show are you going to?
I don't know. I haven't heard of any of them.
Imaginary, maybe.
I just mean theoretically speaking, you can pick the first show you get to go see.
If I could go see like something that's just like there's some pro shit going on, like go see Alice in Chains or go see like Ghost or
nice.
You know, something that just, as the kids say, something that slaps. You know what I mean?
It really slaps.
Yeah. You know, a band that you love and you have an attachment to their music, to be able to like see them back, I feel like it's going to be emotional almost. You know, you're like, this was taken from me. This feeling, you know, it's taken from everyone, not just me. You know,
Ghost is a good one because you're you're getting serious business. I mean,
man.
are you familiar with how impeccable those guys are with just the stage?
I'm a big fan of Ghost as a band, but I've never actually been able to see them live. So
you
no.
can
Well,
look
they're
up,
massive,
dude.
now, man.
Masters. You can look up.
They're so big now.
Find the most amateur footage on the crappiest cell phone, and they will not see them break character. It's perfect. And I mean, I'd rather see something like that. It's either the crowd would just be flipping out, or I'd rather see something like a bar band just kill it in front of a lot of people, cram into a bar, if that's possible anymore. I don't. That's something I really do miss, is just a kind of a gutter bar show that's just got tons of people there, smelly.
Oh, yeah, on that topic, is there like a place that you guys like to go to chill out and whatever it be, have a meal, have a drink? Is there a place you guys really miss right now that you haven't been able to go to?
Well, dude, Nashville, man. Nobody's really following the rules here. Bars are still slammed. Like I said, man, me and Emil both, we've talked about it. When you're in bars all the time playing, it's honestly been kind of nice not to be in a crazy like bar scene. I miss playing and I miss being on tour and whatnot, but I don't really have anything like anywhere I want to go eat or have a drink necessarily, because I mean, we got Uber Eats nowadays, so
exactly, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I haven't really missed out on any restaurants that I really, really love. I mean, yeah, I miss going and sitting down somewhere and ordering something, I guess. But I would, man, honestly, I haven't really even thought about that part of it that much. I just, I'd like to be able to go see my grandparents and not think that something's going to happen to them, or like,
yeah, I think we
I haven't got to spend time with my family at all. Like, I haven't seen other than like a day or two here and there, I haven't seen my family and hung out with them since the beginning of the year, so I think that would be nice. And I haven't got to hang out with my band guys at all. And I think I'm more just looking forward to interaction with specific humans,
Definitely.
It kind of makes you I think this sort of stuff makes you take stock in those things. Like I did. I was like, like same, maybe it's a national thing, I don't know, but same as Dust is saying, like I don't really miss one particular place. I'm
Sketchy.
Yeah. Oh, Sketchy. What up, dude? What I do miss is the people and the interaction. And, like, Nashville's kind of there, even since the beginning of this whole thing. It's kind of jarring when you go out and you don't see anything. You're like sneaking around, like, oh, then you pull up to
a ghost town.
Yeah, then you pull up to an intersection and you see a bar that's just exploding with people going nuts. You're like, damn, like, what? Did I miss the memo? Like,
yeah.
But it's the interaction. But again, we're musicians, so we're good. I mean, the Colonel Bruce quote: "When you're a professional musician, you're just paid to wait, and wait."
Yeah, you
so
really are.
We can pass time. Like, I mean, we're masters at it. At this, again, when you're doing this full time for most of your adult life, you're really, really good at just going with the flow and finding ways to keep busy and not lose your mind. To try to get better and evolve as a person. But I think for a lot of people, and especially myself, this has really made me take stock and not really discover anything new about myself, but just more confirmation that, I'm more serious about work right now in my life than I am about being social. I'm fortunate to where all my friends and family I'm good. I'm good.
Right.
I'm good to go there. And it's like, that's there. Let's get to work while I'm still healthy and capable. And that's kind of where I'm at. This has just showed me that, like, once again, buckle down harder because you never know what's coming around the corner. That's it.
Yeah.
What's up, Rich? What's up, Bev? Love y'all.
Got Rich and Bev in here?
Love y'all. Sketch.
So, we got some guitar playing action going on back there. What during all this time, what's been your guys', obviously aside from your PRS guitar, what is your go-to gear to play through? What have you guys been plugging into over this time?
Well, I'm newly on the Kemper roster, and I'm real pumped about it. So got my Kemper rig with a cool pedal board set up, and man, I mainly just play my blacktop all the time. I love that guitar. It's the other one.
The other one's
the bottom one here. Yeah, that one. This guy. This, if I'm correct, this is the exact model yard.
I believe that is the giveaway model. Yeah.
Yeah, this is my my main guitar. It's the exact guitar
It's a beautiful guitar, man.
get at the store, and
best looking black guitar probably ever. I love it.
I love this guitar. But you know, this is definitely number one. I play that one a lot, and the DC3 I have, which is really neat. It's like relic and looks like a road worn kind of super strat hum single. Really, really unique guitar. But yeah, I think Emil's gonna grab it.
Yeah, you gotta see this thing.
It's pretty unique guitar, man. So for anybody that knows about the DC3, it was a just a single 25 1/4 scale guitar PRS had a few years ago, and me and Emil both have taken like a huge liking to this model. We kind of both got ours customized by Skitchy, who's in the comment section. Went to the hum single, and mine is, you know, aged and relict. It's kind of my tribute to David Gilmour, I guess.
Nice.
But yeah, I love these two guitars a lot. They get used a lot, but my Blacktop's definitely probably the one that's played the most. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. I think a lot of it's cool to have other PRS artists around, because literally what we do, if one of us gets a piece of gear, well, I won't talk about what's sitting in the other room because it's not really announced yet. There's a guitar that I just got a couple of days ago to just play and check out. It's a really awesome one. And what happens is a lot of the artists, there's a lot of artists in Nashville, and it's a great way to do R&D. Like when I started hanging with Dusty, he'd just gotten his JA, not JA, he just gotten this guitar, his DC. And then I brought my JA over, and we were both like, holy cow. And then he actually had a low turn put in his. And then I was like, I got to have one of these. This is insane. Like, I can't believe I'd never noticed. And Jimmy Herring plays a guitar similar, you know.
Yeah, I think he plays like an NF3 kind of, his model. It's like I think it's two humbuckers and a narrow field in this like exact guitar. It's like, I think.
So then I got that guitar, and I'm like, okay. And then it's just cool because when the piece of gear comes in, you have 2 or 3 different minds, different players. And what winds up happening is usually there's emails going to Rich and Bev, hey, this thing sounds sick. Like, what is the deal with this thing? Or like for us, we were like boggled. We were like, how come not everybody in the world has one of these things? This is too crazy. And then they give you the story. They say, well, it'll come back one day, and here's why, and here's what we were trying to do. And then now we have a Strat, you know, we have the Silver Sky. So it's really neat because you learn about the history, the evolution of the build, because a lot of the models, like what blows my mind about whenever you go to the factory, and this is just kind of anybody in here could probably imagine that it's this way, but sometimes as a human being, you see something like this speaker right here, this monitor, you just think it falls out of the sky. You don't realize that it was manufactured somehow. And when you go to PRS, when you see people literally, or when somebody goes, hey, I remember your first guitar when it came down the line, I'm the guy that did this, this, and this to it. It's like,
oh, right.
It's really mind-boggling. Then you see what Paul and everybody goes through to create something like the Silver Sky. Like, there's no, let's think of this and do it. It's literally years of development, research, just digging deep, like discovery. What are we trying to do? Like, what kind of wood? What kind of neck? Like, and it makes you learn literally more about what you do for a living and, you know, like playing guitar. I'm not a gear spec guy. I know if I don't like something. So usually, and I can't put my finger on it, and I'll ask questions. And that's what's really cool about, I mean, everybody down to Paul and Rich and Bev. It's like you wind up finding something new. You like it. You find out why. You implement that on your next one. And as an artist, you're doing the company a favor by finding new stuff for them to lean on and to evolve into, maybe if it becomes, you know, popular, or they get a lot of feedback positive, you know, from it.
Right. You know, in terms of tonality that you guys get out of your guitars, what's the characteristic that you guys are generally looking for? I know that a lot of guitarists do lean on the wanting a flat response out of the guitar. Some people do like a sort of pre-voiced sound coming out of the guitars via whether it be the wood or the pickups. What sound are you guys going for out of your guitars before you plug into an amplifier?
Snappiness, quality woods, and Paul makes sure that the woods that his guitars are being built with is dry first,
right,
before it's even built. So that's why vintage guitars can go up to being worth $500,000 or something.
It's like a cello at that point. Right?
Yeah, because once the wood is completely dried out and it's all relic looking, and it just sounds ridiculous. It's like what it's supposed to be. And that's the thing with PRS. They make sure that the wood is dry before they even build the guitar. So when you get the guitar, it's already it's
you can hear it miles away.
That's just. It's loud. That's not.
Yeah, they don't even need to be plugged in. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that. I think too. Like you were saying, it's almost like what you would be. When you ask that question, the first thing I'm thinking of is like, well, the answer to that question is kind of what PRS sort of stands for, as far as like the kind of player that would go for that guitar.
Right.
And I think in my eyes, what that would be is the word like brilliance. Like it sustains longer. It's got just more character and life. It's more complex of a tone. If you hear it on really nice monitors, you can hear things that you're just not going to hear in other guitars as well. Like, I don't know, some frequencies, some depending on the wood. And to me, I think that it's just, and plus you start learning what's Paul concerned about. I mean, he always wants his guitars to out sustain the most vintage anything. He's gonna. I mean, the first time I met him, he threw a pre-CBS Strat on the table, thumped a string, and looked at his watch and went, "See that? Now watch this." And he had his latest and greatest and put it on the table, and he outdid it by like 28 seconds or something. And well, the fact that he's concerned about that,
right,
and he starts talking about materials that the strings touch, like why is this made out of that? Why is this sound louder when you drop it on the floor than a bone nut? That kind of thing. And so I think what I'm looking for is just a fair shot at taking what I do and having the listener actually feel it. And the PRS guitar it's got the brilliance. It's got everything that you could really want, I think.
I think this is a really good time to cue in Bobby. I think he can speak to the process that they do as far as drawing the words and getting the tone out of the guitars. If we could bring him up momentarily so he can explain a little bit of that to us.
Yeah.
Let me get him up here. There you go. Hey, there he is.
Hey, Bab.
Hey, Bobby, so they were just talking about the process of drying the guitars at PRS and how they how Paul likes to go about getting the the best tone possible out of it. Can you speak to that?
We use air drying. We don't do heat at the factory. Not to bore everyone with a bunch of specifics, but as far as taking what Dusty and Emil are talking about, getting the water, the moisture out of the woods, we go through an excruciating process just with our necks. And as the guys, anybody that's played a PR is going to attest to, and what we're known for, the stability in the neck is so important. Again, we'll constantly remind people that if that neck is not stable, once you marry it to the body, you're going to be forever chasing intonation. And we'll take upwards to 30 to 40 days in process just to complete a single neck. That's the drying process. That's taking the through the first pass through the CNC machines and then all the way through doing everything by hand. Very, very long process to get perfect.
Yeah, I think anybody who's actually been able to sit in front or be able to watch and listen to see Paul talk about the process of the guitar, just how passionate he is about every single different nuance of a guitar. I think if for anybody either purchasing one or in your guys' shoes where you guys are endorsed by PRS, I think you feel very confident that your instrument that's being crafted is in very good hands.
It's a relief.
Well, I mean, I'll give you an example. A touring guitar player's biggest nightmare is your neck moving constantly, right?
Right.
And like my model, for instance, we use a rock maple neck, which is hard, very hard. And I can fly from UK home or from Australia home, and I can pull my guitar out of our flight, what do you call them? Our flight vault thing, and it's still in tune. And the neck isn't like all over the place. That's very important to me because, you know, there's a lot of people traveling and playing that aren't traveling with a guitar tech. You know what I mean?
Right.
You don't want to have to be unscrewing stuff and making adjustments all the time. You just want a good instrument that's going to be reliable and that's going to work as it was intended to work. So, you know, I think that is more important than anything, to have something reliable that is good. You know, it's a good quality guitar.
Definitely.
Doesn't hurt. Looks ridiculous.
What tuning do you guys typically stay in? If you have a guitar you're grabbing every single day, what tuning is that in for both of you?
All between the Bear to Me's entire discography has been in C# standard. That's what we play in. But, you know, I have standard guitars and E flat guitars because of the country stuff. There's a lot of stuff in E flat and then drop C# when you're in E flat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, Nashville's totally an E flat town with a singer songwriter. So I've also got one that's just kind of hangs out in E flat. I'm a standard guy, and with when I play with Tony McAlpine, it's in B standard, which is just a plain 7-string tuned to standard. And then my main guitars are standard. And then, you know, then I have some, depends on the project. Like I have one guitar right now that's a whole step down because I'm helping a student write a record, and he writes in D standard. So I have a guitar I can just grab. So it's a beautiful thing to have multiple guitars, so you don't have to keep resetting them up, you know, for each project. But my main ones, I try to just keep them, you know, they just stay put. They don't ever really get changed, you know, unless the neck moves or the seat, or unless I'm an idiot and the seasons change literally and I leave the window open, which seems to happen a lot. So,
by the way, I know we're kind of continuing the guitar conversation, but I figured that's what we should be doing. What are you guys there's like, I know we're all in different modes when we sit down and play, right? There's a mode when we want to write something, and then there's that different mentality when we just want to riff out. But when you guys, let's say evening, late night, you're just kind of relaxing and you're going to pick up your guitar and just play for the sake of playing, right? Which is probably something that a lot of us don't even do anymore, but you're just going to play. You're not going to write. You're not going to practice. You're just going to play. What's your go-to style to play in?
I'm playing grunge riffs, man, all the time.
Grunge riffs.
Chains, STP. Really, that's what I play the most. 90s stuff just agrees with my style, and I just have fun doing it, you know?
Nice.
Our music is super technical most of the time, so sometimes it's just fun for me to play just a simple radio song, you know? Just if you're just trying to dial in a tone that works, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
It's just, for me, it's like fulfilling because with BT Band, we're hitting all the notes and all grounds, and, you know, we're doing all the styles and getting it all out. So sometimes it's fun for me to just play some simple stuff, you know? Hell, I could even put on a Chris Stapleton song and just kind of noodle around and work on trying to be super tasteful and kind of age the hands, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly. Emil, what about you?
It's weird. Like, I think whenever we hang out and do guitar stuff, we never even hear like a riff from one of our bands. It's kind of, it's interesting. There's always, like, you know, when you try out a guitar, there's always these like tone riffs. Like,
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
it's usually stuff like that. Like if I'm messing with an amp or a pedal, I'm usually stopping and starting so I could hear the reverb trail or the delays, whatever. But it's usually like that. It's usually like, you know, some riff, some classic rock riff. And then noodling. There's no real, like, it's kind of the stuff that you would do on the couch, I think. Just a little more intense is what it is. You know, but then when because it's a different mentality altogether when it's time to do our bands, I would imagine, or when it's time to write music. It's just a totally different thing. So whenever it's late at night and you're plugging guitars in to kind of goof around, the last thing you really want to do. But I say that, but as soon as I say that, you mess a riff up and it winds up becoming something awesome, and now you have a new riff for your record. It's just a constant sort of shaking the tree to see what falls out, I guess you could say, you know?
It's really good for you too, man, to, like, my uncle and my dad are both players, bass and guitar, and I remember my uncle saying that he learned lead by, he would put on, you know, like old Mahavishnu or Santana, and he would learn like horn lines, and then he would play along to like Journey and stuff like that, and just learn the vocal line. And I've always done stuff like that because of it. And but I also believe in the longer you play and the more specific you get into it, you start unlocking all this weird shit that you would have never thought about. The angle you're holding your pick, how hard, you know, you're dialing in your dynamics to sound good quietly, and all this stuff. You know, like gospel chop drummers that are doing all the ghost notes and stuff, they can play all that crazy shreddy stuff this loud. And that's important, especially in guitar. So I feel like learning other people's material of like bands and songs that you grew up loving and learning to emulate their style and play the solos sounding just like them.
Right.
That is really good for you as a guitar player, because, you know, I saw someone over here say something about taking shots every time we said versatile, but you know, versatility to me is the most important thing in anything in life.
It's the only insurance there really is.
So, I mean,
cool.
Yeah, I'm trying to read a lot of these comments too.
Okay.
But,
all right. So I think we're going to take this opportunity to go ahead and announce the winner of the giveaway for the signature guitar.
guitar winner.
Let me pull it up really quick. Give me 1 second. Let me just pull it up for you guys. Give me 1 second. You can go ahead and keep doing that so that nobody pays attention to me. Sorry, I'm having technical difficulties getting the winner pulled up.
Just rip with the volume on while he's doing this.
Plot twist. We're just trying to keep you guys in suspense.
You find it?
No, they're actually sending it to me right now. Okay, we got it.
Oh, there we go.
All right, so our winner is Adam Sturberner. If I'm pronouncing that right, Adam Sturberner. If you are watching this, we will get in contact with you. You are the winner of actually this beautiful guitar right here.
Yeah, man. Look at that thing.
Damn, he just won that.
He may or may not get it after now that I'm holding it, I'm looking at it. I don't know. I might just take off running with it, but just joking. You're gonna get the guitar. But yes, we do have a winner again, Adam Sturberner. We will get in contact with you. You won the
wow,
Dustie Waring signature guitar. This thing is absolutely gorgeous, man.
Yeah, congrats, man.
Yeah. Beautiful.
That is my jam right there.
That is just classy, man. That is awesome. Cool. Okay, so we announced that. On announcing that, we're going to go ahead and close this up. I want to thank you guys so much for joining us. This has been really awesome. I know that times are changing for everybody and clinics aren't, exactly what they used to be, but this is an awesome alternative. Thank you guys for taking the time.
Thanks for having us. Yeah.
No, it's our pleasure. So Bobby as well, thank you so much for joining us, man. I know you're a busy guy over there.
Bab, tell O'Brien we said hello and give him our best too.
I think they pulled him down.
Congrats again, Adam. I see your comments, man. That's cool. That's my favorite color of the bunch.
Me too.
And God, you're gonna love it, man. It'll be something that you give your kids one day, I'm sure. So
you don't have to worry about fingerprints either because it's flat black.
That finish, yeah. Awesome. I'm sure he's going to be super stoked about that. Again, thank you guys all in the comment section. Everybody watching, thank you for joining us here at Pitbull Audio. We will catch you guys on the next clinic. Thank you guys.